Okay guys, here we go again. Little FYI, I'm looking out from my porch over to the San Sebastian River. Can you see there are white caps? That's Ponce de Leon Avenue, also US 1 out there. There are white caps on the river, and I don't know if you can tell, but you see there's foliage right there. The water has come up. The water has come up in the marshland, and it's almost at the fence. Okay? Now, at the end of the driveway, the street is starting to flood. It's not raining. It hasn't rained at all. It hasn't rained at all here. But the streets are flooding. Well, why would that be? Because the culverts are backing up from Old Town. That's why. So this is out my window. There's no rain. It hasn't rained here this morning at all. You were just looking across US 1 there at the San Sebastian River. The culverts are backing up. This means that Old Town St. Augustine is flooding. That's what this means. Now, during Ian, there was at least a foot of water that was completely up in our brick driveway. I have an SUV. It wasn't causing me any trouble. But the consideration that before the rain has even started, we've got the culverts backing up is really something of consideration. Really something of consideration. So I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive around and show you guys some stuff. Okay, guys, here we go. It is Wednesday, the day before Hurricane Nicole is supposed to hit this part of Florida. I'm going to run out and do the things that you really need to do before any storm hits if you haven't done them already, which is fill your tank with gas. And if you don't have the kind of foods in the house that you would tend to want if you're stuck in your house, you want to go ahead and get those, because tomorrow when the storm hits, I assure you, my grocery stores won't be open. So I'm going to do those things, but I'm also going to take you to the ocean, and I'm going to drive you through Old Town St. Augustine. Because based on what's happening to the ditches and the culverts here in this neighborhood, which is uptown, which is north of Old Town, and the way that the water is already flooding, even though it hasn't started raining yet, that's telling me that St. Augustine downtown, Old Town, is probably flooding already. That's a whole other story. There are several bodies of water that were changed, diverted, dammed up, culverted to build what is Old Town St. Augustine. And if you fill all the ground around it then with concrete buildings, there's nowhere for the water to go. And guess what happens? You get floods. So right now I'm taking you over the Volano Bridge to the Atlantic Ocean. That, by the way, is the School for the Deaf and Blind, the St. Augustine School for the Deaf and Blind. That water right there is very high. It's usually right next to the road. It's usually way out there. That's the Matanzas River, essentially. But the School for the Deaf and Blind here, that's where Ray Charles went, by the way. So Volano Landing, during Hurricane Ian, you couldn't even see that parking lot. Yeah, see? The river is usually not up to here. The storm surge is pretty high. I also want to point out that it hasn't rained here yet. That's not because of high rain. That crazy high water is all storm surge. It has not even rained here, and we have flooding. That's the Matanzas River. Actually, this portion of it might be the Tolomato. The Matanzas and the Tolomato come together. This is very high, though. There's islands and marshlands and things out there that you would normally see there gone. Okay, right in front of me is the Atlantic Ocean. Don't know if you can see the white caps. That down there, that pier, I don't know if you can see it. That pier, that's the old bridge before they built this bridge. So I'm just going to go over. I bring you guys here often when there's anything stormy going on, because this area here is all low, and yeah, see that ditch, that culvert? There's usually no water in there. When they reclaim areas and rework the water systems, and they have to build all these culverts so there's somewhere for the water to go. When you build things up too much, like in most areas, like New Orleans, for example, there's nowhere for the water to go, and so it floods. And we're just going to go here. See, I'm going to see if the Atlantic Ocean is on the road yet. It often is here. The Atlantic Ocean often comes up onto the road. Alrighty. Okay, it's not up on the road yet, but where you're looking at, this is covered in water oftentimes here. Covered in water. Let me, that nitwit is going over there. There used to be a casino here, as you can see from this side. There used to be a casino here, the Volano Beach Casino. Let me go ahead and turn around. There were walkways here to the beach. There's one of them, but you can't use them anymore because they were destroyed during Hurricane Ian, and they haven't been rebuilt yet. Obviously, no one's at the beach because there is no beach. There's no beach right now. See that walkway? You can't access it because the beach portion of it has been destroyed. But I'm going to park my car. I'm not going to be like that person and just pull up there like an asshole. I'm going to park my car. It's pretty windy. These beachfront motels, it would be wise to have sent their people off. You see how it's all muddy? There's already been flooding. I don't know what stage the water is. I don't know if this is high tide or not. But you see all this stuff here. The water was up here. Okay? It's the ocean. This did not look like this before Ian. This was all completely destroyed by Ian. Boom! Alright, it's a little angry. See, that's completely destroyed. Right around there, I don't know if you can see, there's some rocks. You can't see them. I was down there on those rocks right before Ian. That's all man-made. There is a natural low place there, and the Army Corps of Engineers came in, I'm not sure when, turn of the century, and dredged it out to create a shipping channel. And so they had to build that retaining wall because the changed all the really hard time. Okay, so we're back in the area called San Marco. There's the Fountain of Youth, or there's the entrance to the Fountain of Youth. We're driving on San Marco Avenue. As we head south, we will end up at Castillo San Marcos and Old Town. And I wanted to take you through Old Town, which is very low. Here we're coming up on Our Lady of La Leche, where the evil giant cross is. And interestingly enough, it looks like there's a lot of people there today. Yeah, okay. All right. Don't know if you can see the cross or not. But, yeah, there's a natural inlet in there. A natural, I don't know what you call it. It was built around a natural bay, shall we say, and the bay, I looked, and the bay has flooded. So the bay's all over the land. So that's the Castillo Hotel, where if you've watched my videos before, that's where the Hotel San Marco used to be, the massively elaborate hotel that coincidentally burned down the year that Henry Flagler's hotels opened. Isn't that a coincidence? Here we're coming up on the Castillo San Marcos, and there you see the area around it is flooding already. Now, as I said, there's no rain. There hasn't been any rain. This isn't flooding from rain. This is flooding from storm surge. Old Town is very low. Oh my gosh. The Matanzas River is so high. And you can tell because the boats that are still stupid enough to be moored out there look like they're at the same level as the cars. After Hurricane Ian, there was a sailboat that had been left. Oh my gosh, look, there was already damage there. People are sandbagging up. Do you see how high the water is? Can you see? There's literally white caps. The boats that are stupid enough to be moored out there are rocking considerably. During Hurricane Ian, this was all under thigh-high water because the river, the Matanzas River, came over the seawall. Really stupid. So you see there's lots of sandbags. Everything's pretty much going to be closed. And there was a sailboat that was breaking up there against the side of the seawall that had broken free of its mooring. Now you can see there that entrance off the bridge has got cones marking it off that would have been covered in water recently. We're going to head down toward the National Guard. And okay, no, we're not. You see, it's already flooded. It's already flooded. You see, it's already flooded. I'm okay. I'm in an SUV. I can do this. But you see, there's a car down there, down the road, that is completely up to its cab in water. Okay, the flooding has begun. And I state, there's not been any rain. This is all storm surge. This is all the water that the hurricane is bringing in. So you got to ask, if it's already this bad, what's going to happen when the rain comes? Yeah, places that are low. Places that are low are going to be hurting. So see right up there, you see Marine Street is a river. I'm just trying to get out of here. There's a lot of one-way streets in this old part of St. Augustine. streets. I've turned my camera away because there's a family that's walking with their kids, and they've got luggage, and I didn't want to film them. Probably like getting the hell out of Dodge, right? But you see there's sandbags everywhere. These people know they're screwed. We're coming up on the entrance to the National Guard Armory. I'm going to go ahead and go up there since I can drive through. See, Marine Street there is just completely a lake. I'm going to go ahead and go straight. I'm going to drive you past the cemetery where the pyramids are. Can you see how high the water is? It's just a couple feet from breaking over the seawall here. So now we're on the National Guard Armory property, and over here is the National Cemetery. And there you see the pyramids, which I've done several videos about. This here, San Salvador. This was the old this was the southern wall of the walled city of St. Augustine. These pyramids are supposed to be ossuaries for all of the soldiers that were slaughtered during the Second Seminole War when they were ambushed at Bushnell, Florida, corner of Charlotte and San Salvador. I have more than one video about that if you're interested. Well, see, everything's flooded. There's also a lot of history about that. Let's see. You know what? Let's see if I can get... I want to see if I can get over to Lincolnville, which was used to be called Negro Town. This is where one of the places the freed blacks would go. It's all over there. That's the Santa Teresa Creek. And it's usually not flooding onto the road like that. Lincolnville floods horribly. I think you can see why. Floods horribly. There's actually a bridge there. The water's not only up to the bridge, it's almost over the bridge. Oh yeah, it's over the bridge. It's on the bridge. Yeah. So, I am actually going to go through here because I can. Yeah, I'm high enough. I can safely go through here. Yeah, and I don't even know. I don't even know what tidal phase we're in, but as I said, it hasn't even started raining yet, and everything is flooded. What happens when the rain starts? Needless to say, Lincolnville floods pretty badly. A very historical part of town. Martin Luther King stayed over here with people when he was here in '64 and was part of a march during that civil rights time. We had a Woolworths here. That Woolworths was part of that whole Woolworths sit-in thing. I don't think I can go up to Riberia because you see in front of me, Riberia is a lake. Yeah. I could probably drive through that, but I'm not going to. We're going to turn on MLK here. This is all Lincolnville. It's become what you would call a gentrified area. There are still black folk that have been living here that have had homes here generationally, but it's also, there's a lot of folks that are moving in and, changing property values and how all that stuff works, unfortunately. Yeah, see, Riberia is the road that runs along the water. Over there is a natural bay, and that's where a lot of the boat yards are, where people take their boats out of the water for different kinds of work. If I can get back into Old Town, I'll just keep going. I'm going to drive on the traditionally low areas in Old Town. And oh, look at that Peugeot or Citroen, whatever it was. Beautiful old French car. We're coming up on, this was the first black school, I think, in America. And this was St. Benedict the Moor. Moor? Did you say Moor? Moors? Moors? Yes, St. Benedict the Moor. There's a lot of history there. I did a video about all that. There were white nuns, white Catholic nuns, the Sisters of St. Joseph, who dared to teach black children born of free black people. And at the time in Florida, we had a law on the books that said white people couldn't teach black kids to read. White people couldn't teach black people to read. And so these nuns were jailed. They had a whole school. Yeah, so we're coming up on King Street. We're gonna cross King, and this is the post office, and then that domed building in front of you is Memorial Cathedral, Flagler Memorial Cathedral. It's a whole another bullshit story. I'm gonna turn left here. So we're kind of in the area of Flagler College. That's all right there, all that terracotta roofing there. That's Flagler College, and then you've got a historical home here, Markland, which was built by, I can't remember who was built by, but a doctor who was important in a lot of this history. Yeah, the back of that's part of Flagler College, which you can believe or not believe that actually was built by Carrera and Hastings for Henry Flagler, and that it was all a hotel that he built. You can or cannot believe that. I don't. Especially since it's all built out of coquina, something that we don't know how to do anymore. So if it really was built in the 1890s, that wasn't that long ago. People knew how to read and write, and if it really was built then by the people, Carrera and Hastings, who were told built it, then how come we don't know how to create that coquina concrete now? Most of what still survives in St. Augustine was built out of coquina concrete that no one knows how to reproduce. I'll let you decide. If we were to go straight, we'd go over the King Street Bridge in this direction, west. If we were to go behind where I'm going, we would go over the Bridge of Lions east to the beach. I'm going to turn on Riberia. If I were to turn left on Riberia, I would go along where it's all flooded. I'm turning north. So we're in Old Town now. If I were to turn left, we'd go back to Lincolnville. A little bit of flooding going on. Starting. The thing behind us where the floods were is, the marsh just comes right up to the road there. There's no interference with the marsh. So, the water just goes where it goes. I want to go up to Cordova, if I can get there. Cordova was the old western wall when the city had a moated wall around it. And Cordova was the moat. So Cordova is very low and always floods like crazy. I mean, if it just rains like a regular rainy day, Cordova floods. So we've got the ancient City Baptist Church on this side. which Henry Flagler told them they had to take their bells out. And then we've got, you can't really see it, but we've got the house that Henry Flagler supposedly had built for his daughter who died, and then the Memorial Presbyterian Church, and then Flagler College. Henry Flagler's house, which is gone, was right there in that parking lot. We're coming up on this church, which Crarer and Hastings was also supposed to have built. Crarer and Hastings did a huge, marvelous, if I do say so myself, video about the Reset Architects Crarer and Hastings. And you see it's built with that coquina concrete blend that no one knows how to do anymore. This is Cordova Street. This was the old moat. And the old moat ran from where we were when we crossed San Salvador and Charlotte. And it ran. This was all the moat. This all floods horribly. I imagine all these businesses are closed and sandbags are well in place. And then the northern side, the northern wall, the northern moat was Orange Street. This is the Tolomato Cemetery. It's the oldest cemetery in Florida. Did a video about that. So this is Orange Street. This is where the northern wall was. There's a piece of the wall left. The bastions for that, I'll go ahead and turn this way. That is the Huguenot Cemetery, which was outside the wall, that was built because on the other side of this bastion, this was part of all. That wall, that's the Huguenot Cemetery. It was built outside of the wall for the non-Catholics because there were too many dead people piling up after the yellow fever, the last yellow fever assault, and they had to build a cemetery to put all those people. I am not supposed to make a left turn, but I am because there's no one around. So yeah, this is all flooded. And that is not boding well. That is not boding well. Things are going to flood horribly if that's already occurring. Yes, indeed. So we're back on San Marco, headed north. somewhere up there is where the camera is that gives you the shot of the ocean. The shot of the pier. And I don't know. I'm walking here on the side. I can see the waves. That's how high they are. Can you see those waves? This is fantastic. I'm soaked. It's not raining, it's just mist. And the wind is blowing, so I'm soaked and I'm freezing, and all I did was stand there for a minute. So this is what coming up on Crescent Beach. I'm gonna ride around in the parking lot of Crescent Beach. So St. Augustine Beach, Crescent Beach. As we're going south, I'm just going to pull into the parking lot here. Let you get a view of the beach. This is actually one of my favorite beach accesses in my area. Crescent Beach is very wide, and Crescent Beach is very wide and usually gives you great access to the water. If everything is washed away here, things are bad. If there's no beach here, it's bad. Yeah. Can you see? There's a car right there. But can you see? There's not much beach. Well, there's more than there is in St. Augustine. I'm going to back up so that woman doesn't think I'm filming her. All right, we're either in Crescent or Butler Beach. Technically, we are on the Coast Road, A1A, south of St. Augustine. On the other side of this house is the Atlantic Ocean. On the other side of this house is the intra-coastal waterway, which here is called the Matanzas River. And you see those culverts are full of water. It's usually not. Excuse me. I'm going to take you over the bridge that goes over Fort Matanzas. Matanzas Inlet, which I believe is a vortex point of some sort, simply because I have always felt something there. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That whole parking lot is flooded. Yep. The Matanzas River is pretty high. Yeah. That water is usually not there. That's all storm surge from the Matanzas River. Yeah, this road is going to be flooded soon. And again, as I said before, I don't even know what phase of the tide we're in. So that's the Matanzas River, and it's usually not that high. You see here by the stuff on the side of the road, the river was up to here. You see it's washing up on the bank. That is usually not the case. So yeah, that's high, and all the culverts are full. So right up ahead is the bridge that takes us over Matanzas Inlet. Matanzas was the old way into St. Augustine, because before the Army Corps of Engineers went in and dredged at Villano, which is where I took you to initially and got out of my car and showed you the beach and went over the high bridge, the Villano Beach, that became the way into St. Augustine. That used to be just all shoaly and, like a galleon could not have gotten in there. Matanzas Inlet was the way that you got into St. Augustine from the Atlantic Ocean, and that's why Fort Matanzas was built there, because you had to come in and go through the Matanzas Straits to get to St. Augustine. So Fort Matanzas was built there to intercede, and that's also where the Huguenots were slaughtered, the French Protestants, and that whole story of Jean Ribault and Jacques Le Moyne and the French Protestants that came here to escape religious persecution got slaughtered here. They got out of France to escape choosing not to be Catholic in France, came here to just live their lives, and the Spanish Catholics slaughtered them here. Yeah, so we're coming up on Matanzas. This is all this land here. This is all state land. From about this point here, the waterway, from about that point on, then this is all part of Fort Matanzas, which is actually national land. I'm sure Fort Matanzas Monument is closed today. Why would anybody go there? It's heavily flooded. Yeah, it's closed. The river comes up. But now we're coming up. We're going to go right over Fort Matanzas. On this side is usually the beach access, but that was all destroyed, and the walkway was destroyed during Hurricane Ian, and it hasn't been rebuilt. But normally you would park over there to go to the beach at Fort Matanzas. There you can't. People over here on this side go to the waterway, and you see that the waterway is up into the marsh. So this bridge we're going over Matanzas Inlet. There's usually shoals out there. There is not a shoal to be seen anywhere. And that's the Atlantic Ocean right there. Take my window down so you can see it's very angry, it's very fierce. Now back when the Spanish galleons would come in, it was not quite as shoaly as it is now. But that's some pretty angry water. This is a huge fishing area. This bridge is usually lined with fishermen. It's pretty angry water. I would not want to be any of these people living here. I'm just going to go up to the next bridge and then turn around. See, there's already water everywhere from storm surge, from crazy storm surge. This is Summer Haven, and I'm just going to go over this next bridge, and you're going to see probably this whole area, which is like marshy, is probably completely submerged, what we cross over here at Summer Haven. Yeah, it's all underwater. I don't know about these crazy people who build their houses out like that on the water. You guys, you're wealthy. That's where you can afford it, but you get no sympathy from me when it's all destroyed. Yeah. This is usually very shoaly. You see there's water there. There's usually no water there. There's usually not water in here. And we got to turn around because the road is blocked up ahead. See, there's a cop blocking the road. That's fine. I'm just going to turn around. Not a problem. Not a problem. So, what that probably means is the ocean is on the road up there. That's what happens down here. Because people shouldn't be living here. But you didn't hear that from me. So I'll give you another view of the Atlantic Ocean as we cross over the Matanzas Inlet Bridge, and then we'll call it quits. I just wanted to show you guys what things are looking like the day before Nicole is supposed to hit. I'm going to fill up my tank with gas. Oh, and my car is getting buffeted like crazy right now. I'm going to fill up my tank with gas. Got a little over a half a tank, but it's good to go into a storm with a full tank. And I'm just going to stop and grab some things that I want. Can you hear? I'm only going 40, but the wind is buffeting. So here's the Atlantic Ocean. Pretty angry. Pretty angry. You can hear the wind. Now, it's not raining. The reason, and that's what's left of the beach in Matanzas. It's just been completely destroyed. So you know what? I can tell by where the waves are that the tide is out. The tide is low. There is somebody, there's a houseboat out there. There are some people on a houseboat. Are you people kidding me? Yeah, the tide is out. Wow. I don't know if you could see that. There's an anchored houseboat out there at Matanzas Inlet on the riverside. Whatever. Yeah, Fort Matanzas. Right in here, if you go in here, that's where you go to the old fort. But yeah, so I could tell by looking at the waves at the beach at Fort Matanzas that the tide is not even high. The tide is not even high, and there's this much flooding. And it's not raining right now. This is all just mist. Yeah, we're in for it. You see all this flooding here? All this flooding? The tide is not even high. And there's this much flooding, and the rain hasn't started, and now the wind is really picking up. So thank you guys. I just wanted to share. I'm going to go run into Winn-Dixie and grab a few things and fill up my car and go home and put all this together for you. So wherever you are, stay safe. If you're in Florida and you know what you need to do, then go do it. And I'll keep you guys posted on what I see where I live from Hurricane Nicole.